Hello and welcome all of you. This is a masterclass on Katalon Studio. So I'm going to create a complete session. I'm going to teach you Katalon Studio from scratch. So this is going to be very basic. If you are a complete beginner on Katalon Studio, you can follow along with me. I will start step by step. I will start from scratch and we will go up step by step. So in this session, this will be a very practical hands-on session, and I will show you right from scratch how do we download and set up Katalon Studio, how do we uh, I will tell you about the GUI and features, and then we will start automation testing with Katalon Studio. So in this session, I will show you examples, demo, and everything will be step by step. You can follow me on Windows or Mac operating system, or you can also use Linux. Now, for the GUI part, when we will start the platform, we will open the tool, we will look at the GUI, and we will create all our tests and all the artifacts. You will need operating system which has the GUI like Windows or Mac. And when we do the command line, you can do it on Linux as well. So therefore, I have mentioned here that you can follow this on Windows, Mac, or Linux operating system. I will be using my Windows system mostly for creating my tests and all the other things on Katalon Studio, but the process will be same on Mac operating system. So you can follow this on Windows, Mac, and the command line you can do on Linux as well. A little bit about myself. I'm Raghav. I'm a training partner with Katalon Studio, and I also do trainings on Katalon and other automation topics, automation testing, DevOps, and CI. You can find all my work on my website, automationstepbystep.com. So just to show you, if you go on my website, that is automationstepbystep.com, here you can find all these, all the tutorials. So here you can see all the topics that I teach on. So you can always check from here, and this masterclass will also go here. And with that, we can start with the topics. So in this session, in this masterclass, I will start with introduction, and we will start with Katalon Studio. We will look at how do we download and set up Katalon Studio. We will look at the GUI and features of the platform. And then we will start with web UI automation testing, that is browser automation testing. And I will tell you about the different modes of test creation. There are 3 different modes in Katalon Studio. We can do recording, we can create the test manually, or we can also use scripting. I will tell you all the 3 modes. We will look at test cases, test suites, and test suite collections. We will see how do we look at the logs and look at the reports. We will see custom keywords, how do we create and run custom keywords. We are going to look at execution environments. What are execution environments? What are execution profiles? What if you have to run your tests on different environments? How do you manage all the environments? And then we will look at Katalon Recorder. What is Katalon Recorder? How do we use it? We'll see how do we record and spy on existing active browsers, that is your system browser. How can we use that to record and spy objects? We will look at variables. What are variables in Katalon Studio? What are different types of variables? How do we use them? Then we will move to data-driven testing. How can we get our data from external sources like Excel file or CSV file, and how can we use that test data into our test cases? We will look at what are checkpoints. How do we use checkpoints in Katalon Studio? We will look at command line runs. How do we create commands and how do we run our tests from command line? We'll look at failure handling. What is failure handling? How do we manage failure handling in Katalon Studio? We will look at listeners. What are listeners? How do we use listeners? Then we will look at setup and tear down in Katalon Studio. We will look at self-healing. What is self-healing? So basically, whenever there are some changes in your applications from the backend, and when you run your test and there are some failures because automation scripts are not able to find or recognize the objects because they might have changed or they might have got replaced. In that case, how can the self-healing capabilities of Katalon Studio can work and can find out the objects using some artificial intelligence? We will look at that. We will see how do we debug and troubleshoot in case of failures in Katalon Studio. And then we will look at frames handling. How do we handle frames? We will look at visual validation. Visual validation is apart from the functionality that we test, like the basic functionality, we can also test the look and feel of our web pages, of our web applications, like the color, the pixel, the sizes, the location of the different objects. All this we can check with visual validation. We will look at how do we put our project on cloud repositories like GitHub, and then how can we integrate with source code management systems like Git. And finally, I will tell you some useful tips and best practices. So this is going to be the agenda for this masterclass, for this complete hands-on training on Katalon Studio. I will suggest that you can follow along with me with hands-on. And if you have any questions, any doubts, you can always let me know. I will have all these notes and all the text in the description of this video. Sometimes it may happen that the description section has limit on words. If that happens, and if the notes are more than the limit, I will always have a PDF file uploaded and I will provide you the link. So all the links, all the notes will be in the description section. So I believe we are good to start. So let's get started. And let us start with introduction to Katalon Studio. Now, if I'll go to my browser here. So this is my Windows system here, and this is my Mac system here. So you can see this is my Mac system here, and here I have my Windows system. So I'm just going to my browser and I will go to katalon.com. And this is the website of Katalon Studio. And here you can see all the details about Katalon Studio and all the features. So here you can find all the platforms it can work with. So in Katalon Studio, we can work with web, mobile, API, and desktop. So that means in Katalon Studio, you can do testing on web applications, mobile applications, APIs, and desktop. Then you can see here, if I scroll down, you can see some more features, and here you can see it can do continuous integration, continuous testing. There are some integrations we can do for CI/CD in Katalon Studio, and you will see all the details here. Now, if I scroll up, and here you can see there is a link for products, and here we have Katalon Studio, we have Katalon TestOps, we have Katalon Test Cloud, and Katalon Recorder. And then here you will also see the solutions for web testing, API testing, mobile testing, desktop testing, integrations, and methodologies. So let's say if you are interested in doing web testing with Katalon Studio, if you click here, it will take you to this web testing, and you will see some information about web testing. And if you scroll down, you can see all that you can do with Katalon Studio for web testing. Similarly, you can see other solutions. Now here, if you go to resources, you can see the documentation, and then you also have a community here. You can see the webinars, blogs, etc. And this is about Katalon Studio. So the first thing you will have to do is, so this is about Katalon Studio. Katalon Studio is a platform that you can use for automation testing on web, mobile, API, and desktop. And you can use it for any of these automation testing. It is a very simple and easy tool to use. So if you have not done automation testing anytime in your life, and you are not good in programming, or this is the first time you are doing automation testing, you can use this tool. It is very easy. In a moment, I will show you. You can just download it, you can create your account, and you can get started with automation testing. So let us start with the download and setup part. And here, let me go and show you. I'll go back to katalon.com. And the first thing you will have to do is you will have to create an account. So you can go to here, sign in or start for free. So this will take you to the sign up page. So before that, let us also look at the prerequisite. And if you just search for Katalon Studio prerequisites, this will take you to the page where you can see all the prerequisites that you need for Katalon Studio. Okay, so here You can see we have Katalon Studio Basic, and then Katalon Studio Enterprise, which requires license, and then Katalon Runtime Engine, which is used for command line execution. And if you scroll down, you can see the system requirements here. So this is for Windows, the operating system that we need for Windows, then for Mac, and for Linux. And then you can see the CPU requirements, and you can see the RAM or memory requirements here, and the hard disk. So it says you should have at least 1 GB of available disk space. I will say that you must have at least 5 GB, because we will be creating some projects as well. And to make sure that your system does not slow down, it's good to have at least 4 to 5 GB of free space. And you can also see the browsers supported and all the versions supported for mobile testing and everything. All the prerequisites are here. So you can check this page. And if you're on Windows, just to check your operating system, RAM, and all the other details, you can go to this PC or my computer, do a right click and go to properties. And here you can see all the details. So in my case, you can see this is my operating system, and then this is the processor. I'm using the CPU, the memory, and this is 64-bit. And you can always go and check your folders for the amount of space you have. So you can see in my C drive, I have 7 GB free. In my D drive, I have 1 GB free. In my E drive, I have 4 GB free. So I can easily install and start using Katalon Studio. If you are on Mac, you can just go to about this Mac. And here you can see about your Mac processor, memory, everything. You can find it here. So you can check all the system requirements here. So we have seen the system requirements. And now let us start with, so this is the link for system requirements that we just saw. And now let us start with the steps to download and set up Katalon Studio. Step 1 is we go to katalon.com and then we create an account or we sign up. So here on katalon.com, you can click on sign in. And in case you already have an account, you can just give your email and password and sign in. And if you do not have, you can click on sign up here. And here you can give your name, you can give your email and create a password, and then you can click on get started. Now, when you create an account, you will get a 30 days free trial of the enterprise Katalon Studio, that is Katalon Studio Enterprise. Let me also show you that as well. If you go to katalon.com and you go to the pricing page here, you can see here, there is Katalon Studio, which is free. Then we have Katalon Studio Enterprise. So you can see this is free, but this is very limited. So if you really want to, work with Katalon Studio on your enterprise projects or company projects, this may not be very useful because it is very limited. And again, if you want to do like CI/CD and you want to run from command line, for that also you will need runtime engine. So this is Katalon Studio Enterprise and this is runtime engine. And you can see the different options for licenses, but as you can see the different features as well. So here you can see web testing, API testing, mobile and desktop. Here we have all Katalon Studio features plus some extended features. This is for CI/CD and command line, the runtime engine. And you can also see all the links here. You can always talk to the team as well. But as you are starting, you will get 30 days of free trial on Katalon Studio Enterprise. So you can create your account. You will also get an email to verify your account, and then you can click on sign in and sign into Katalon Studio. And in my case, I just have created an account with this temporary email. I will give this email ID and give my password and click on sign in. Okay, now once you have signed in, you can go to the download page or click on download, and then you can download Katalon Studio and Katalon Runtime Engine. Katalon Runtime Engine we will need later when we start doing command line runs, but it's good that you keep these two folders downloaded and ready. So this will download as a zipped folder. So here, if I go and search for, yeah, you can just click here, get started, or you can directly go to katalonstudio.com download. And here you can see it is downloading, and it is downloading a zipped file. Let me just cancel it for now. I have a zipped file already downloaded, but you can see here, you can see all the steps as well, the initial steps. Or if you directly go to katalonstudio.com/download, you can get to this page, and here you can see Katalon Studio and Katalon Studio Runtime Engine, and you can select the operating system. By default, it will select the operating system for you, but just in case you want to change, you can select it from here and click on download. So download Katalon Studio and Runtime Engine. These will get downloaded as a zipped folder. You can unzip and keep it at any location on your system. So unzip the folders and keep at any location on your system. And if I show you my folders, I have kept these in my D drive tools Katalon. So you can see these are the two folders that will get downloaded. You can, after they have downloaded completely, you can do a right click and say extract all, and then extract or unzip at any location that you want to. As of now, I have extracted them here. So you can see these two folders. This is Katalon Studio folder and Katalon Studio Runtime Engine folder. So this is step number 6. Now step number 7 is we will open the Katalon Studio folder and click on katalon.exe to start Katalon Studio. So if I go to Katalon Studio folder, and here is the katalon.exe. On Windows, if you double click on this file, it will start Katalon Studio. And if you're on Mac, once you have downloaded and run the DMG file, you can directly find your Katalon Studio in the applications folder. So when you go to applications here, you will find Katalon Studio here, and then you can directly run it from here, or you can start the spotlight by pressing Command spacebar on your keyboard. That is Command plus spacebar key. And then you can start typing Katalon, and you will see Katalon Studio app, and you can just click and start Katalon Studio. So this is the small difference between Windows and Mac. And once Katalon Studio is started, rest of the things will be similar. So I'm double clicking on the katalon.exe file, and it will now start Katalon Studio. So this is now getting started. And we have got this Katalon Studio activation window. So here you have to give the same email and the password that you used to create the account. So give your email here and give the password and click on activate. Now, just in case you get a window to create an organization or integrate with TestOps, if you like, you can just close that window for now. We will look at it later. How do we integrate with TestOps and all these other things? We just have to activate our Katalon Studio now. So yes, this is done, and you should be seeing a start page. Just in case you do not see the start page here, so you can see this is a start page here. If you do not find it, you can always go to help and say start page, and you will get the start page. Here it will show you the version of Katalon Studio. You can see this is Katalon Studio Enterprise 8.3.5. So as of now, this is the latest version. And here I can see a trial status, which says 30 days remaining. So we can use all the enterprise features for 30 days on this trial. So this is what we have done. We have started Katalon Studio. Now, let me also start Katalon Studio on my Mac system. So there will be a very minor changes in the menu, which I can show you. Okay, so we have done this topic on download and setup of Katalon Studio. Now, let us explore the GUI and features of Katalon Studio. Okay, so I hope all of you now have Katalon Studio ready on your systems, and we can now explore the GUI and features. So here I have Katalon Studio ready on my Windows operating system, and here I have Katalon Studio on my Mac operating system. So I will show you wherever there are some differences. Mostly it is going to be the same, and once you have Katalon Studio download and setup, you can follow this session and this masterclass, and you can work on Windows or Mac operating systems. So now let me show you. Once you have Katalon Studio up and running, you can see at the top, we have this menu bar where you can see menu options like file, action, edit, project, debug, window, tools, help, etc. So this is the top menu. Then we have got the main toolbar. So this area that you see is called the main toolbar of Katalon Studio. And here, the options which are mostly used for the type of testing you are doing. So whenever you create a project, you will have an option to select whether it is a web project or an API project or a desktop project or a mobile project. So based on the option you choose, the options here on the main toolbar will get customized for that particular type of testing. So this is the main toolbar. Here is the test explorer. When you create your project, you will see your project and all its files and folders in a tree view here. And this is the editor where you will see the, whenever you will select any file or anything from here, from the test explorer, its editor window will get opened here. Okay, so you will see this here. Then you can see the log viewer, the console here. You can see all the logs here. You can also see if you go to Windows and say reset perspective. So sometimes if you accidentally close some screens, for example, let us say I close the test explorer or minimize it. Now I want to get it back. I want to go to the earlier view. I can always go to window and say reset perspective, and you can see it resets the perspective here. Okay, then you can see there is a keywords browser here. You will see here on the left margin, we have keywords browser where you can see all the keywords for the built-in keywords for web, mobile, Cucumber, web services, and custom keywords, etc. So all this you will see here. And now, if you go to file, you can see all these options. Now, in my case, our project is already created. Let me close the project so I can show you from scratch everything. So I have closed the project. And now you can see if I go to file, we have option. I can go to new and create a project here. Once the project is created, you will also see all these other options will get activated like folder, test case, create a new test case, create a new test suite, create a collection. So we can create all these new artifacts or items from here. Here is an option for new sample projects. So there are some template projects, some sample projects that you can look at, and you can see some examples. Like there is an API project, there is a BDD, web UI, visual testing, Android, mobile testing, iOS mobile testing projects. So you can take help from these projects in case you are doing any of these testings. Then in case you want to open any existing projects, you can go from here, open project, and then all your recently opened projects will be shown here. So in my case, it is showing me some projects. If you're using Katalon Studio for the first time, you will not see any of the recent projects, so which is fine. And then we have option to quit from here. If I go to Mac and go to file, you can see the same options here, new sample project and everything here. Then here is a action menu. Here you can see API web services, open, import, etc. Spy web, spy mobile, record web, record mobile, add keywords, mobile and UI keywords. We can run from here. We can run. We have all these options for running, and then debug options are also here. And then we have an advanced search. Okay. So now, before we go further, and look at the different features and GUI options, let us create a project, because once we create a project, we will have all the options enabled. So let's do that. I will go to menu, file menu, and go to new and create a project. So I will go to file and go to new and click on project. And I will say this is training project. And then we have options to select the type. So we can select web, API web services, mobile, desktop, or generic. So as I told you that when you select the type of the project on the main toolbar will get customized according to that type of testing. So as of now, we want to continue with the web testing. So I will select web here. Then here we have some options. Do you want to start with a blank project, or if you want, you can also use the existing sample projects. So as of now, we want to start with a blank project. In case you want to get the project from some repository, you can give the URL here. We don't want that. And then here is the location where you want to save your project. So by default, it goes in C users administrator Katalon Studio. And if you are on Mac, and if you start to create a new project, so if I go and start a new project here, by default, it goes into your users folder and Katalon Studio folder. So here, I want to change it. I will click on browse and I want to keep it in my, let me see which drive has more space. I can go to my E drive. You can keep it anywhere, and projects. And I already have a folder called Katalon here. If you want, you can create a new folder or you can place it anywhere. And I want to keep my project here. So I will select this location, and then we can give the description here, which is optional. If you want to give any description, this is a demo training project. You can give the description here. And then here are two checkboxes. First one is to generate .gitignore file. Now .gitignore file will be useful when we put our project on a repository and we use Git for source code management. .gitignore file will have the names or locations of the files or folders that we do not want to be put on the repository, or we do not want to push to the remote repository. And build.gradle file will be useful if you are using Gradle, but we are not going to use Gradle here. We just need .gitignore, which we will look at later when we do source code management. So I'll just check this and say okay. And this will create the project and will open the project on Katalon Studio. So you can see the project is open and you can see the project structure here. Now, just in case you want to see manually, where is the project? You can go to this menu project and say settings. Here you can see the project name and the project location. So in my case, it is here. If I want, I can manually go to this location on my folder. So if I go to this Katalon folder, here are all my projects and this is the project. And you can see all the folders here as well. Okay. Now, project settings is something we will look into more details as we go through these sessions. I will cancel it as of now. And also, if you go to project and go to settings, and if you go to Explorer here, you can check what all folders do you want to see in the Explorer window here. So just in case, if you do not want to see some of the folders, you can always uncheck it from here. So as of now, I will keep it as it is. And we have got our project created. So now you can see all these options. We have file, we have action. Here you can also do an advanced search on your project. Then we have edit for undo and redo. Then we have project. You can do a refresh from here, which will refresh the project. Or if you want, you can close the project and you can close and clean up. Cleanup will also delete some unused objects or other things. So you can do that. Now, if you go to project settings, this will be very useful and we will use it frequently. We have all the project settings here, and these are the project settings, not the Katalon global settings. If you want to go to the global settings of Katalon Studio, you can go to Window and go to Katalon Studio Preferences. So these are the global settings of Katalon Studio. In case you are on Mac, you will find this under the, you will not find it under here, under window, but you will find it under Katalon Studio. And here we have preferences. So these are the global settings for Katalon Studio, but your project specific settings will be under project and settings. Here you can see integrations, you can see plugins, TestOps, Test Cloud, project information, test design, which will have further web UI, test case, library management, email, execution management, desired capabilities, database, network, self-healing. So we will look at some of these as we go through these sessions. Then we have debug. Whenever we have to troubleshoot or debug our test cases, we can go to the debug perspective. You can also see the debug perspective here. Generally, we work in keyword perspective. We have two perspectives, keyword and debug. Generally, we work here, but when we have to debug, we can use this debug perspective. I will show you when we learn about troubleshooting and debugging. Then this is TestOps. It will directly take you to the Katalon TestOps. And if you have to integrate with TestOps, you can do it from here. And as of now, we will see it later. We have other integrations like for ALM, we have integrations with Jira, Qtest, TestRail. For CI/CD, we have integrations with Jenkins, Bamboo, and all this will take you to the documentation page where you can see how exactly you can do the integrations. So as of now, we will skip this and we will move to the window. We have reset perspective, which we have already seen. Then we have command palette, which you can start from here, or you can press Control Alt C key on your keyboard. And this command palette, you can actually start typing anything. Let's say I start open, and all the matching options or functionalities will be listed out. So you can see open checkpoint, open test case, open test data, open test object, open test suite. Similarly, I want to, if I say test case, everything matching with test case comes up. So this can be very handy, especially for beginners. If you want to check what are the options available for some particular functionality, you can always go here in the command palette and you can start typing and see the options. Then we have themes. We have a light theme and a dark theme. So if you want to use a dark theme, you can, go to the dark theme. And I think for us, the light theme is good. So I will move back to the light theme. Then we have Katalon Studio preferences. As I showed you, these are the global settings. And you can see the settings for Git, mobile, plugins, proxy. So in case you are using any proxy on your servers or in your network, you can always check the proxy here. So all these global settings for Katalon Studio are here. You can also check the general appearance, Cucumber, Groovy. And you may, in case you have used Eclipse, you may find some of these options similar to Eclipse, because Katalon Studio is created on the Eclipse platform for the structure and design. You can also find this if you go to the Katalon Studio folder where you have downloaded the folder. So in case I show you this folder, here you will see this eclipse.exe file as well. So you can see some similarities with Eclipse IDE here. Then we have tools, we have plugins. You can install a plugin, uninstall a plugin from here. If you want to update all the web drivers or the browser drivers, you can do it from here. We have option to terminate the running web drivers. We have a utility to export and import test artifacts. So in case you want to import or export within projects or give it to somebody else, you can do it from here. We have some iOS options. This is for desktop WinApp drivers. If you want to show all the unused test objects, that is the objects which are added to the project but not used in any of the test cases, you can see it here. Then we have the help menu. In the help menu, if you go to about, it will show you the information about your Katalon Studio, the version, the build, etc. Then if you go to quick start guide, it will take you to the documentation and you can see all the different options. It will take you to the documentation pages and you can see all this. We have the start page, which takes you to the start page. Then we have, if you want to report an issue, you can see error logs. You can see all the tutorials here. These are links to the tutorials. We have encrypt text. I will show you this later, what is this used for, and check for updates. So this is the top menu here. Then we have the main toolbar. As I told you, this is the main toolbar. And because this is a web project, it is customized for our web testing. Here we have options to save and save all. There is this is AppTools for visual validation. This is a third-party tool which is integrated with Katalon Studio. This is for Git. Again, this is there is an integration with Git. This is for self-healing. This is the spy web. So here, if you want to spy the objects or capture objects from a web page, you can use this. This is Katalon Recorder or Record Web. So whenever you want to record a test, you can use this. Similarly, we have spy and record for mobile and spy and record for desktop. Then here is back and forward buttons. This is for command line, build CMD. This is to run a test case. As of now, this is disabled because we don't have any test case. This is to debug a test case. Again, this is disabled. And to stop a test case when a test is running, this will get enabled and you can stop it from here. These are links for Katalon Test Cloud and Katalon TestOps. Here we have, this is for execution profiles. I will show you this later when we come to the topic. These are the two perspectives, keyword and debug. We work on in the keyword perspective. And whenever we have to troubleshoot and debug, we go to the debug perspective. Okay, then here, some links and then some notifications here. And this is your profile. If you go here, you can see your logged in profile. You can go to your dashboard. You can look at what are the plugins you have, and you can log out from here as well. Okay. And this is the Test Explorer where you can see your project in a tree view. This is the editor window. So whenever you will select anything from the Test Explorer, it will get opened in the editor window here. This is the keywords browser. Here we have some tabs like problems, console, log viewer, etc. So this is the GUI of Katalon Studio. So we have done all these steps. We have created a project. We have looked at all the features and the GUI. We have looked at some settings and preferences. So we have completed this topic. Okay, so I hope now you have a good understanding about the platform, and do not worry, as we create the test cases, as we look at all the other options, you will get to know all the features, all the options on Katalon Studio. But at this point, I believe you are good with the basic information. You have downloaded, you have opened Katalon Studio, you have created a project, and you know some of the options and features of Katalon Studio. Now, we will start creating our automation tests. So now we will see how to create automation tests in Katalon Studio, and we will look at the different ways to create automation tests. So step number 1 here is create a new test case. Now to create a new test case, you can go to File, New Test Case. So I can go here, File, and I will go to New. And here you will find an option test case. And this will be enabled only when you have a project, you have opened a project, or you have created a project. So you can go from here, you can create a test case from here, or the other option is you can directly go to the Test Explorer and go to the test cases folder, do a right click, say new test case. So here you can directly go to the test cases folder on your Test Explorer. And here, when you go here, you can do a right click and say new, and we have option to create a test case, and we also have an option to create a folder. So in case you want to categorize your test cases and keep it in different folders based on any of the logics that you have, maybe based on the product, maybe based on the web pages, maybe based on the type of tests like smoke tests, regression test, sanity tests, you can do that. So let me create a folder here, and I'm just going to give the name as demo tests. And now I will again do a right click on this folder, demo tests, and I will now create a new test case. I will call this as test 1. And the first way of creating a test case that we are going to see is how to create a test by recording. So I will call this as test1 underscore record mode. And description and tags are optional. So if you want, you can give some description here. This is a demo test case. And if you want, you can give some tags like I can say at smoke, at sanity, etc. So tags will be useful when you want to search for a test case or when you want to execute based on tags, you can do that. So these two things are optional, description and tags, and say okay. And you will see the test case is created here. Okay, so this is how we create a test case. We give the test case name and then click on OK, and we have got our test case created. Now, we will look at the modes of test creation in Katalon Studio. We have 3 modes. We can create a test by recording. We can create a test by manually adding the steps, and we can create a test by scripting. So these are the 3 modes. So let us look at these modes. First, we will look at the recording mode. So in the recording mode, step number 1 is we will first go to the main toolbar and click on web recorder. And you should already have our test case created. And now I will go to the main toolbar, and here you can see there is a record web icon here. So this is the one we will use. So click on this record web, and here this will open this web recorder window. Here you have to give the URL of the application that you want to test, and then here you will see a record button, and there is a drop down here. So give the URL, and by default you will see there is a demo Katalon application URL already added, which is demoaut.katalon.com. So we will continue with this for now. And here in this drop down, you can see the browsers that you can use for recording. Chrome is recommended, so this is what we are going to use. So click on this, and it will start the Chrome browser and also go to the demo application. Now, if you click on this expand button, it will show you all the recorded steps. So you will see all your steps getting recorded here. As of now, it has recorded open browser and navigate to URL, which is this URL. Now, if you go to your application, you will see wherever you are taking your cursor, it is highlighting the objects. So this is make appointment button. I will highlight this and click, and you can see it has recorded the click action on make appointment button. Now we have got this login page. Here we have username and password. So I will click on the username and give the username, which is John Doe. You can see the username and passwords here, and it has recorded. Now I will also give the password. So this is the password, which is, this is not a password. I'll just copy and paste it here, and you can see it has recorded this password, and then click on login. Here we have some other objects. This is a drop down. I will select from the drop down a checkbox, a radio button. This is a date field. You can see all these are getting recorded here. And then a comment box. I will say this is a demo comment. And finally, we have a button to book appointment. I will click this, and we have got the appointment confirmation. Now, if I want to verify that we have got this appointment confirmation message, I will highlight this text and do a right click, and you will see there is an option called Katalon Studio when you do a right click. And here we have an option verify element text. I will select this, and you will see this option is also recorded. Now, at this time, If you do not stop the recording, so we have got this pause and stop recording buttons here, but I will not click on stop as of now. Once you click on stop, it will close this browser window. So before closing that, if you see there is you can see all your recorded steps here, and then you can see there is a link to show captured objects. So all the objects that we have captured or worked with during this session, like clicking on any buttons, adding any text, all these are objects. All the buttons, text, everything that you see on the browser are objects. So all the objects that we have captured during this session, you can find it here. If you click here, show captured objects, it will open this captured objects, and you can see all your objects that you have worked with, and you can select any of the objects, and you can also see the object properties, what is the selection method used, and this is the selector used. You can also check the attributes, the CSS, etc. of that object. And then you can also see here we have got a verify and highlight button. So in case I click on this verify and highlight, if that web page is open here, it will highlight, and you can see this message, found one element using this XPath selector. So I will again say verify and highlight, and you can see it is highlighting this on the web page. Suppose I go to some other object which is not present on the web page, let us say the password box, and if I click on verify and highlight, you can see it says unable to find the object by this XPath because it is not here. So for that, in case I will pause the recording so that it does not record any of the steps. And in case I log out from the application and I click on make appointment again, and now I am on the login page. So now if I click on verify and highlight, you can see it is highlighting the password object, and here it is saying found one element using the XPath selector. So you can also check this if you want to, and I will click on hide objects, and then I will say I will stop the recording by clicking on this stop recording button. And as I stop the recording, it will close the browser, and also it will capture close browser action, but because we had already paused the recording, therefore it did not capture that, but that's fine. We can add it manually as well. I will click on save script here, and this will show you all the objects recorded during this session. In case you have accidentally recorded any objects, you can always uncheck it from here before saving. So if you want, you can uncheck the objects. As of now, everything is checked, and all of this will go in the object repository folder, which is this folder here. So I will say okay, and you can see the test is created. We have got all the steps created in our test case. If you check the object repository folder, all our objects have come here, and our test is now ready. And now I can run the test. So we have done all these steps. We have added the URL on the recorder window. We recorded the steps. We stopped the recording. We saved the steps. And now we can execute or run the test and check the execution. So to run the test, we have got this run button here. Now, if you directly click on the run button, it will run on the default browser. The default browser is set on the project settings and execution. So you can see the default execution browser is set to Chrome. So if you directly click on this button, it will run on Chrome browser. But if you want to use any other browser, you can click on this drop down and you can select any other browser. As of now, I'll just click here and let us see the execution on Chrome browser. You can also see the job progress here and the logs. So it goes to the application, enters username, enters password, logs in, and it is doing all the actions, and it checks the appointment confirmation, and everything is running fine. If you want to see the log viewer, you can double click here to expand, and you can see all the logs. So this is a tree view of the logs. Here you can click on any of the step and see the details here. If you want to disable the tree view and look at a tabular view of the logs, you can go here. You can see here it says tree view. You can click here, it will disable tree view and you can see the tabular view here. So you can again click on any of the step and you can see the details. And you can also filter from here if you want to see all the logs or only the passed and failed, you can filter from here. Okay, so this is how we can create our test using our recording mode. Now let us see the manual mode. Now in the manual mode, we first have to capture all the objects that we will be using in our testing, or all the objects that we will be working with in our test cases. We have to first capture all the objects. So for doing that, we have to click on Spy Web. So you can see here, let me collapse the log viewer, and here you can see, here we have got the Spy Web. So this is the option. Click here and it will open the object spy window, and it looks similar to the web recorder window. We give a URL here and then we select the browser. The default browser is Chrome. So here, let us do our testing on this Orange HRM demo website. So this is the link. I will give all these links and notes in the description of this video. So this is, if I just show you the link, this is open source -demo.orangehrmlive.com. This is the application I'm using. And just in case at your time, if this is not working, if this is down, you can use any web application, any demo or any web application that you can use for your testing. You can use that. So give the URL here. And then just click on start. And this will start the browser and will go to the application. Now, again, you can see wherever I'm taking my cursor, it is highlighting the objects. And you can also see on the top, it says to capture the objects, you have to press Alt and the backtick key on your keyboard. This key is on your top left of the keyboard, just below the escape key. So you have to highlight the object and then press the key combination. And you can also change these hotkeys or key combination. I will show you that later. So you can use this way, or the other way is you can do a right click on the object. So once you highlight the object, you can do a right click and you can click on capture object. So when I do this, you can see the object is captured here. Okay, so these are the ways we can capture the objects by doing a right click and then select capture object, or we can hover over the object and once it is highlighted, we can press the key combination, or we can click on the object once it is highlighted and then press the key combination, or we can click and keep the mouse pressed on the object and then press the key combination. So any of these will work. The most easiest and straightforward way is you just do a right click on the object and then select capture object. So we have done that, and now the object is captured. If you click on the object here in the object spy window, you can see the object properties. So you can see this is the object name which will be saved in the object repository. If you want, you can change this here. Then the selection method used is XPath, and these are the XPaths captured. And out of these, the XPath which is used to find the object, which is the primary locator, is this one. And again, we have options to verify and highlight. You can click here, verify and highlight. So we have captured the object for username box. Then again, I will go to password and do a right click and capture object. It is captured here. Then the login button, right click and capture object. Now I want to go to the next page. So for that, I will manually log in to this application. And here you can see we have got the username and password, admin and admin123. So I will add the username add the password and click on login. And let me see if it is not working at this time. I'll click here. Okay, so this is not, the application may be down or this is not working. So that's fine. Until now, I have captured username, password, and login button. So if you want to go to the next page and capture more objects, you can always manually log in, and then it will go to the next page, and you can do the same options, the same actions here, the same actions there. That is, right click on the object and click on capture objects. So as of now, let us continue with these three objects. We can at least create a login test with these three objects. So once you have captured, you can click on save here, and you can again see all the objects which will get saved. In case you want to you do not want any object to save in the object repository, you can always uncheck it from here, and then I'll click on OK. And now you can close the object spy. It will also close the browser window. You can go and check in the object repository. We have got this page orange HRM folder, and we have got these three objects created here. Now we have captured all our objects, and all the objects are there in the object repository. Now we will create a new test. So I will go to the test cases folder, demo tests folder. I will create a new test case, and I will call it as test2 underscore manual mode. You can give any name to your test case. Description and tags are optional, so I will leave these blank and say OK. And I have got the test created. This is the editor window of test2. Now we will add the steps and the objects to the test case, and because this is a manual mode, we have to manually add the steps one by one. So the first step is we have to open the browser. So for that, we have to add a keyword to open the browser. And for that, I will go to the keywords browser. So if you check the left margin here, the extreme left of Katalon Studio, you will see this keywords browser icon. You can go here and it opens the keywords browser. Here we have built-in keywords. We have custom keywords and utils. I will go to built-in keywords, and this is the folder for web UI keywords. I will go here, and here you can see all the folders. So all the keywords are arranged in these folders. So it is easy for us to find out the keywords. Now, open browser is a keyword related to browser. So if I go and check this browser folder and expand it, you can see all the browser related keywords here. And here we have this keyword open browser. So when you hover over the keyword, you can also see some details, and here is the information icon which will take you to the documentation page of this keyword. So as of now, I just want to add this keyword in my test case. So there are two ways to add the keyword. I can click on this open browser, drag and drop into my test case. So I will drag and drop it here, and we have got the keyword added. The other way is I can click on this add button, and this will create a new step. And you can see here, this adds all the keywords in a drop down. So we can either select from here, or if I start typing open, and you can see all the matching keywords are listed out, and I can select open browser from here. And if you click on this add button directly, it will add all the web UI keywords by default. But if you want any other keywords, you can click on this drop down and select any other keywords as well. So you can also add the keywords like this. As of now, I will delete the step number 2. So we have got open browser. After opening the browser, we have to navigate to the application URL. So let me search for the keyword. I will again go to keywords browser and go to web UI keywords and browser folder. And we have a keyword called navigate to URL. So I can again drag and drop it like this, or the other way is I can directly go to the test case, click on this add drop down, select web UI keyword, and I will start typing navigate, and I have got this navigate to URL. Now, in case of navigate to URL, we also need to give the URL here. So in the input column, we will give the URL of the application. So I'll copy the URL and I will double click on this cell of the input column. And here the value type is string, and the value I will again double click and give the URL here and say okay. And we have got the URL added. So this is our step number 2. Now, after going to the login page, we need to set a username in the username box, or type a username in the username box and type the password in the password box. And for that, if I again go to keywords browser, and this time I will go to web UI keywords folder, and I will go to text because that is the text we are writing. And here we have a keyword called set text. This is what we need. I will drag and drop it here. Now set text also needs objects. So we need to inform on what object do we want to set the text. So here I have to select the object from the object repository. So you can again go to your object repository, and the object that you need, you can either drag and drop it like this, or you can just double click here, and it will open the object repository, and you can select the object from here as well. So the object is added, and then for the input, we need to provide the username. So I will say username is admin. Again, I have to enter password. So again, I will go to add web UI keyword and say set text and use the password object. I will drag and drop it here, and the password I will use here admin123 and say okay. Now, in case of password or in case of any sensitive data, if you want to mask or encrypt it, you can use the keyword set encrypted text here. So instead of set text, if I say set encrypted text, we have got this keyword here. And in this case, we can give the encrypted value of this password. So if I double click here on this password, and again, if I double click on the value, you can see I'm automatically getting this option to encrypt my text. So I will say the text I want to encrypt is admin123, and this is the encrypted text. I will say insert and okay, and you can see the password is now encrypted. In case you do not directly get the option to encrypt the text, you can always go to help, the help menu here. And here we have got an option to encrypt text. Go here. And again, if you want, you can encrypt and copy the encrypted value from here. So we have entered username, we have entered password. Now we have to click on the login button. If I go to the keywords browser, and now if I go to under web UI keywords folder, if I go to element, you can see we have got a click keyword. This is what we want. So I will just drag and drop it here. And in case of click, we just need the object. We don't need any data. So the object is this input or the login button. So I'll drag and drop it here. And finally, after logging in, I want to close the browser. So I will again use a keyword close browser, and that's it. And I will save. So you can see these are the buttons to save. I will click on save all. So everything is saved, and we have done all the steps. Now we can run and verify. So I will go to the run button and click on run, and this will start execution on the Chrome browser. So let us see the execution. It opens the Chrome browser, goes to the application, enters username, enters password, clicks on login, and it is passed. You can see all the logs. It passed, but it was like very fast. In case you want to slow down, you can either add delay keywords. So I can just add a delay like this. There is a keyword called delay, and I can say how many seconds do I want to delay, let's say 2 seconds. Or if you want to add a delay for every step, suppose you want to watch the execution and you want it to go slower than what it is now, you can go to project, settings, and go to execution. And here, if I go to web UI, you can see here delay between actions. So if I say I want a delay of 1 second between every action, so there will be a delay now. And let me try to save the test and I will run it again. And this time, let us see the execution. So it opens the browser, goes to the application, and you can see it is slower now. It enters username, it enters password, clicks on login, and then it will close the browser. So this is working, and this is how we can create our test in manual mode. Okay, so now let us move to the scripting mode. And as the name suggests, we will create our test cases by scripting. And here, step number 1 is we will again spy all the objects. We will capture all the objects that we want to use during our test. And we have already done this in the earlier topic of manual mode. So let's imagine I want to do a testing again on the same application, that is Orange HRM. I want to capture or automate a login test. So for that, I have already captured the objects here. So this is exactly same as per the earlier topic. We can open object spy and then we can go to the URL and then capture the objects by any of these methods and then save the objects, and all the objects will get saved in the object repository. After this, we will create a new test case. So I'll just go to my test cases folder, demo test folder, and create a new test case. I will call this as test3 underscore script mode and say okay. And we have got the test editor open here. And now step number 2 is we will go to the script tab or the script section of the test case. So you can see once you open your test case, you will see there is a script tab here. Go here, click on this, and you will see this is a editor where you can script. And you can see some import statements here which are collapsed. If you click on this plus button, it will expand and you can see all the import statements. I will collapse them again. And then from here, you can start typing your script. So in script mode, we will create script for every step. And for this, we use the class web UI. Now web UI is a class in Katalon Studio which contains all the web UI keywords. So all the keywords that we have seen here under web UI folder, under this web UI keyword folder, all this what we have seen, all these keywords are present in a class called web UI. And using this class web UI, we can access all the methods or all these keyword functions. And here cases are important. So you can see this is web UI where W is in caps, then E and B in lowercase, and then UI is again in uppercase. So this is important. You have to write it as it is. And let me also increase the font. I'm pressing Control and plus key on my keyboard. If you're on Mac, you can press Command and plus key, or Control minus will make it smaller or decrease the font, and Control plus will increase the font. So we say web UI and I say dot. And when I say dot, you will see it will show us all the keyword methods. In case you do not see this auto suggestion box, after pressing dot, after adding dot, you can press Control spacebar on your keyboard. That is Control plus space key, and you will see this auto suggestion. Now, the first step is I have to open the browser. So I will start typing open, and you can see all the keywords or all the functions related to open are here. I'll just use this open browser, and here, let me scroll down. In the brackets, I will give an empty single quote. Next step is I will again say web UI dot, and this time the keyword is navigate to URL. So I will say navigate, and I have got this navigate to URL. I will click this, and within quotes inside the brackets, I will give the URL, which is the URL of the application. I can give like this. You can also expand this test editor by just double clicking on this test. So if I double click, it will get expanded. You can keep on saving as well. You can press Ctrl S or click on this save all button so that you do not lose any of your data. Next step is, after going to the login page, I have to enter the username and password, and for that we have set text. So if I start typing set text, I get this function set text. And if you remember, for set text, we need the object as well as the data, that is the input value. So for the data, I will give the username, which is admin123. You have to give this in quotes. You can use double quotes as well. And for the object, I will double click on this tab so that it comes back to its original position. So for the test object, you can remove this find test object, and here, this is the object we need. So I can just drag and drop it here. Make sure that the cursor comes between the bracket and the comma, and you can just drag and drop it like this. Now, in case it does not work, in my case, it is not working. Maybe I can try by restarting Katalon Studio, but still, if it does not work, you can manually also add it. You can say find test object. If I press Control Spacebar on my keyboard, you can see we have got this find test object function, and in the bracket of this function, we have to give the relative ID of the object. So this is my object. I will do a right click and say copy ID. Copy ID will copy the relative location, and within quotes, I will paste the ID of this object. So whatever you have copied, it will get pasted here. Let me expand and show you. This is how it looks like now. Okay, so this is how you can do it. In case drag and drop does not work, you can do it like this. Then I will have to add the password. I will say set text again. And here, if you want, you can also say set encrypted text for password. And you have to give the encrypted value of the password, which is admin123. For that, I will go to help and say encrypt text. I will say admin123, and I will give it here. And for the object, I will again say find test object, Control Spacebar to bring up the auto suggestion box, select this, and within the quotes, I will give the relative ID of the object. So this is the object. I will do a right click, copy ID, and paste it here. And then the next step is I will say web UI dot, the action is click, to click on the login button. And for click, we just need the object. So I will say, let me again check the function. This is click with the object. This is the one. And I will say, I'll use the function find test object and give the relative ID of the object within quotes in the brackets of the function. So this is my object in the object repository. I will right click, copy ID, and add it here. And then next step is I will just say web UI dot close browser. And that's it. save your project, and we have got all the steps scripted. And now, this is how we have done this. We have used a web UI class, and then we have saved the project. And now we will run it. So I'll click on the run button here. So it says there are some errors in the script. So sometimes it may happen that at the end of your script, you can see some symbol, like in my case, it is a close curly bracket added. So make sure that you don't have anything here. You have a clean script, and save and run again. And let us see the execution. So it opens the browser and goes to the application, and it enters the username, enters the password, and clicks on the login button. Let me check the username I have given. It should be admin, not admin123. Let me save this and run again. And it opens the browser, enters the username, enters the password, and clicks on the login button. So this is working fine. And with this, we have completed all the 3 modes of test creation in Katalon Studio. Now, if you look at this script mode, if you look at the script here, and if you go back to the manual mode here, so let me show you. If I go here to the manual mode, you will see these are the same steps as we have created earlier while we were doing a recording, or while we created the test in a manual mode. So if you look at your manual mode test case, and you look at the script mode test case, and you look at the manual tab, you will see these are looking exactly how we have done in the manual mode. And that means that whether you create your test in a manual mode, or in recording, or in script mode, they will get created in all the modes, and you can see them in a tabular format like in the manual mode, and you can watch, or you can see them in a script mode as well. That means if I go to the first test case that we created using the record mode, and if I go to the script mode of this test case, you can check all these scripts here. So now you can understand these scripts, because we have learned the script mode. We know how these scripts are created, and this will be very handy for you when you work with Katalon Studio. You will know how you can create the test in a script mode. If you have to do any changes, any updates in a script mode or in a manual mode, you can do that. Now, generally, whenever we have to create a test, we can use the recording mode. Using the recording mode, you can very quickly create all the test cases. And then after that, after you have created your test using the recording mode, you can update it using the script mode or the manual mode whenever required. So you can now use a combination of all the 3 modes to create your test case. And we have learned all these 3 modes in Katalon Studio. Okay, so now we will look at test suite in Katalon Studio. We will see what's a test suite, how to create a test suite, and some of its features, and how do we execute a test suite. So test suite, as the name suggests, is a collection of test cases. So we can group our test cases in a test suite. And let us look at the steps. We will create a new test suite. And to create a test suite, you can go to your project. Let me close all these tabs. So here we can go to File and go to New, and we have an option to create a test suite here, or we can directly go to the Test Explorer here, and we have got a folder called Test Suites. And if you do a right click here, you can go to New, and again we have got a folder. If you want to put your suites in different folders, you can do that, or you can directly go and create a test suite. So I'll select test suite, and you can give some name. I will say this is test suite 1, and description is optional. I will say okay. So we have got this test suite created and opened, and then we will add some test cases to our test suite. So you can click on this add button, and here you can select the test cases. I'll select this record mode test 1 and test 3 script mode. So this will show you all your test cases in this project, and you can select, and I will say okay, and the test cases are added here. Now here it will show you the ID of the test case, the description in case it has, and then here is a run column. So you can actually select which tests to run. If you uncheck the test from here, it will not get executed. So you can select it from here, and then you will see the execution information section. If you expand this, you can give a timeout. So if you want to provide a specific timeout for this particular test suite, you can give it here, or when you say use default, it will use the default timeout set in the project settings. So if I go to project and go to settings, and if I go to execution, you can see the timeout is 30 seconds. Let me change it. Let me put it for a lower value like 7 seconds, and that is fine. Also, if you go to execution and go to web UI execution, you can also see here default page load timeout. By default, it is wait until the page is loaded, but if you want to set some timeout, you can also set it here. And I will say apply and close. I don't want to put any delay between actions, so let me just remove this. I'll say apply and close. And then here we have retry failed executions immediately. So in case any of the steps fails during the execution of this test suite, if you want to retry the failed test case immediately, you can give the count here. How many times do you want to retry? So as of this setting, it will retry immediately after a failure for a maximum of 3 attempts. And if you want to retry only after all the test cases of this suite are executed, you can select this, and you can also give the number of times you want to retry. And if you only want to, when you are retrying after executing all the test cases, if you only want to retry the failed executions, you can select this. This option is here because sometimes the test cases are dependent on each other. So you may want to retry all. So that's why it is here. For now, I don't want to retry after failure, so I'll just give 0 here. And here we have, we can give the email recipients, email IDs. If you want to send the report of this test suite to any of the stakeholders, you can give their email IDs here. And before you give that, you will also have to do the settings for email in project settings. So project settings, here we have the email settings. So you can do that. For now, I'll just skip this one. And these are the execution information. And once you have done all this, you can save your project, and then we can run it. So we have done all these steps. We have created a test suite, added the test cases. We have checked the test case for execution. So you can see we have checked all the test cases here. And then we have updated the execution information section. And now we will save and run. So I have saved, and I will click on the run button, and it will start the execution of the test suite, and it will run both our test cases, that is test 1 record mode and test 3 script mode. So it is now running the first test case, and it is running this on the Katalon demo website, and this is pass. It will now run the second test case, which is the login test on Orange HRM, and everything is running fine. And this is all done, and this is how we can create and run our test suite. Now, we also have test suite collection, and test suite collection, as the name suggests, is a collection of test suites. So this is a collection of test suites, and step number 1 here is we will create a new test suite collection. So I will go to the test suites folder. Again, you can go to File and go to New, and you can find an option here to create a new test suite collection, or you can directly go to the test suites folder here and do a right click and go to New, and we will have our option test suite collection. So you can give any name. I will say test suite collection 1. Description and tags are optional, and say OK. And we have got the test suite collection created. And these are the two options as I showed you to create a test suite collection. And then step number 2 is we will add the test suites to this collection. So I will click on the add button here, and it will show you all the test suites which are present in your project. As of now, I have a single test suite. So I will select this and I will say OK, and it is added here. Again, you can see there is a run column. You can check or uncheck if you don't want to run a particular test suite from the list of test suites. You can uncheck it from here. So we have done this. Now, again, we have to set up the execution information. You can see there is a execution information here. Now, for the particular test suite, let's say this particular test suite that we have selected, whatever you have added or updated in the execution information section of that test suite, that will run as it is. Whatever you have added here, in case you have added any timeout or retry or email recipients, it will all be taken care, it will all be considered. But apart from that, there are some other execution settings for a collection, and that is the execution mode. If you want to run all the test suites in this collection in a sequential mode, that is one after the other, you can select sequential. Or if you want to run in a parallel mode, that is all the test suites or multiple test suites in parallel at the same time, you can select parallel. If you are selecting parallel, you can also specify how many concurrent instances do you want, like how many parallel runs or how many suites will be running at the same time. You can select this. Now this will also depend on your infrastructure, on your hardware. If your hardware does not support many concurrent runs, it can slow down. So based on that, you can select this. Generally 5 or 8 should be fine. And if you want to add any delay between instances, then you can add the delay here. So let me do one thing. I will click on add again, and I will add the same test suite once more. So you can add the same test suite multiple times in a test suite collection, and the same goes for a test suite. If you want, you can add the same test case multiple times in a test suite. So you can do this. And here also I have added the same test suite multiple times. Here, one more advantage is you can select the browser that you want to run with. So let's say I want to run this test suite once on a Firefox browser. So I will select Firefox here, and once with a Chrome browser. So I can test on both the browsers. And we also have run configuration, which is mostly used in mobile testing. So I will leave it. Profile, we will learn later. So you can also select different profiles, which will help us in running this on multiple environments. So that we will learn later. As of now, I have selected Firefox and Chrome. And if you want a delay between instances, I can set some delay, let's say 3 seconds, and I will run parallel. And anyways, we have 2 test suites. So I will select max concurrent instances as 2. So I will save, and we have done all these steps, and we can now save and run. So I will save. And now to run, you can see we don't have this run button. It is disabled. To run our test suite collection, we use this execute button here. So I will click on execute, and it will start execution. And let's see the execution. It has started, and it will run the test suite on 2 browsers at the same time, that is in parallel. You can always check the logs. So you can see, if you double click on the log viewer, you can see the live logs here. So as of now, it is starting the Chrome as well as the Firefox browser. So this is Firefox and this is Chrome. So you can see it is running simultaneously on a Firefox browser here and on a Chrome browser here. So these are the two browsers. It is running in parallel on both the browsers. So the first test is completed on both the browsers. Now it will start the second test case. You can see here. This is on Chrome and this is on Firefox. So this is also done. Let me go back. And yes, this is done, both the browsers. And if I check the logs, you can see everything is running fine. So all the steps are completed on both the browsers. So this is how we can create and run test suite collections. And as I have told you, the run configuration is to add some extra information to execute with the selected environment. For example, if you want to select a mobile device to be executed for Android environment. So that is what I was talking to you about the run configuration. And profile, we will look at it later when we learn about environments and how to run on multiple environments. So this is how we can we can create and run test suite collections. Okay, so now let us move to logs and reporting or reports. Now, in case of logs and reports, in Katalon Studio, you will see logs are generated for every execution, whether it is a test case or a test suite or a test suite collection, you will see logs are generated. So if you see, this is the log viewer here. So whenever you run a test case or a suite or a collection, you will see logs coming here. However, reports gets generated only for test suite and test suite collection execution and not for test cases. So we have logs for test cases and reports, logs for all the executions, test cases, test suite or test suite collection, and reports for test suite and test suite collection and not for test cases. So you can see here it is mentioned logs for everything, all the executions, but reports only for test suite and test suite collections. And this is because test case, an individual test cases look like, so if you see here the test cases folder, here we create our test cases. So it is look like a place where you can create, you can run and check if the execution is fine and all the test creation you can do. But ultimately, you will be adding these test cases in a suite, and then the suite, if you want, you can add to a collection. When we will learn command line execution, there as well we have option to run from command line only for test suite and test suite collection and not for individual test cases. So that is why the reports also gets generated only for suite and collection and not for individual test cases. So here, let us see the steps. So let me show you the reports first. So we know the logs gets generated here in the log viewer, and you can see these earlier logs. And we also know this is the tree view, and you can select any of the step and you can see the details here. And if you go here and disable the tree view from here, you can see the tabular view here. You can also filter the past, failed, information, warnings, all these you can filter from here. Now, for reports, you can go to project and settings, and you will go to plugins, and you will find an option for report. Now, earlier, report used to come as a separate plugin for Katalon Studio, and user had to get the plugin, install the plugin in his or her account, and then add the plugin here and then use the reports or reporting feature. But now it comes inbuilt. You do not have to separately get the reports plugin. So if you are using Katalon Studio Enterprise, you will see the report plugin already added. And here we have option to select the format of the reports. So if you want CSV, HTML, PDF, whatever reporting formats you want, you can select from here and then apply and close. And then you will also see there is a folder called reports here. So in your test explorer, you will see a reports folder. And if you expand this, it will show you reports for the test suite or collection executions that you have done in your project. So if you see, this is the report for my test suite execution. If I open this, it shows me the test cases. It shows me the status, pass or fail. And here at the bottom, if I see here, you can see the summary, which shows me the test suite ID, host name, Katalon version, start time, end time, total test case, pass, fail, etc., operating system, platform, etc. Then if I go to the execution settings, you can see all the settings that were there at the time of running this test suite are here. It will show you the timeout settings, proxy settings, all these details. If you go to execution environment, here you can see settings for, you can see information for host, operating system, Katalon version, browser version, Selenium version, etc. All this information is here. And then here you can see all the test cases of this test suite along with the time taken and the status. At the top, we have a filter. If you just want to look at the only the passed, only the failed, error, incomplete, etc., you can look at it here. And then here we have an option to show test case details. So if you click here, let me bring it down. And if you click here, show test case details, and select the test case from here, you can see all the details, all the steps of that particular test case. You can also expand and see all the details of that step. Again, we have these filters here. If you only want to see the failed, passed, all these options are here. And when you select any of the step, all its details are also shown here at the bottom of the screen. So this is how you can see the details and the reports results within Katalon Studio. And if you want to see it outside, like in a HTML file or a PDF, you can go to the reports folder, or you can do a right click on this report and say export as, and we have got these options. So you can say here export as, and you can export it as a HTML, CSV, PDF, etc. Or you can just right click and say open containing folder. So this will go to the physical folder on your system. So if you see, this is your project folder. Under that, we have reports folder. So this is our project folder. Then we have the reports folder here. And these are the reports folders. This is our test suite. And here you can see all the reports. We have got a HTML report. Here you can see the details of the execution environment, the test suite details, information about the test suite, what is the name of the test suite, the status, the time taken, pass, failed test cases. Then for every test case, you can see all the details, all the steps, details, time taken by the test case, status of the test case, pass, fail, etc. In case there is a failure, you will also see the logs and a screenshot as well. And then you can see other formats as well. So there is a PDF format, there is a CSV format. If you see the CSV format, you will see in a tabular view all the test cases and all the test steps with their status, time taken, duration. In case there is any error, you will see that here as well. All these details you will see here. And then we have the PDF as well. So as of now, you cannot see the PDF because I changed the settings to include the PDF after this report was generated. So from now onwards, you will also get a PDF format as well. And in case you want to see a PDF, I can always do a right click here and say export as PDF. And I can select where I want to save this. Let us just go on the desktop and save it. So if I see, let me see where it went. Yeah, it is here. So this is the PDF. And you can see the PDF. Again, you can see all the information, all the details about the test suite, the test cases, time taken, pass, failed, all the step details, everything is here. Now, in case there is any failure, let me show you one example with a failure. I will go to my test case. Let me just go to my test case with script mode. And here, I'm just adding a step, click, and I will use an object which is not present. I am going to use an object from a different application. Let us say this Katalon demo application. So this will fail here because this object, it will not find here. I will save and go to my test suite. That is test suite 1. And I will run the test. I'll just stop it. I think I added this 2 times, so I don't want to waste time in running the same test again. I will uncheck this. We are running these 2 tests, and I will save and run it. And let us see the execution, and then we will check the reports. So this has started the execution. It is now running the first test case, which should pass. And yes, this is fine. Now the second test case, which should fail. So after this, it will try to find the login button, which is not present here, which is a login button of a different application. And therefore it will fail. And you can see in the logs, it has failed. And now if I try to check the reports, if I go to the reports folder and refresh, and if I see in this report, you can see this has failed. And if I check the files, I will right click and say open containing folder. And now if I see the report, you can see we have got a PDF as well here. Here it says it has failed. If I expand this, you can see this test has failed. And now if I check the failed test case, you can see the failed step. And also we have got the message information, unable to click on this particular object. So it is very intuitive. We get all the information. If I look at the failed step, you can see all the details here. It was unable to find this object by this particular XPath. And then it has also taken a screenshot of the page and attached the screenshot in the report. So this is how the report will get generated whenever there is a failure. If I check the PDF, again, you can see this is a PDF and these are all the details on the PDF. Here as well, you can see the screenshot is attached along with the error logs. So this is how we can look at the logs and reports. Okay, so now let us move to the next topic, which is custom keywords. We will see what are custom keywords and how do we create custom keywords in Katalon Studio. Now, in Katalon Studio, we have built-in keywords and then we have custom keywords. Now, built-in keywords, as the name suggests, are the keywords which are already present, which are built in the platform and you can directly use them. And here, if I go to the keywords browser on Katalon Studio, and you can see we have got the built-in keywords folder here. And inside these folders, all the keywords that you see under web UI or under mobile or under web services, all these are built-in keywords. They are already present. These comes as a standard keyword set in Katalon Studio, and you can directly use them in any of your test cases. Now, sometimes it may happen that you are trying to do something very custom. So generally, whatever you are doing on a web browser, if you talk about web testing, whatever you do on a web browser, like clicking or setting a text or dragging and dropping or upload, download a file, or any kind of action that you may be doing generally, all these are already present as a built-in keywords. But sometimes maybe you are trying to do something very custom based on your scenario or application and you do not find a direct keyword for that. In that case, you can script and create your own keywords, and these will be called as custom keywords. So these are not present built in Katalon Studio. These are custom keywords, or we can also say these are user defined keywords because the user is creating these keywords. Sometimes you may also want to club multiple actions or multiple keywords together. Let's say you are doing a login action and you want that every time, instead of adding all these 3 or 4 steps separately, that is enter username, enter password, click on login button, you just want to club all these actions in a single keyword. Even then you can create a custom keyword and you can add all these steps within that keyword. So whenever you want to do login, you just have to call that single custom keywords. So let us now see how we can create custom keywords. Step number 1 is we will create a new custom keyword, and for that you can go to file and go to new and go to keyword. So here, let me close all these and collapse this. So I can go to file and new, and we have a option for keyword here. Or the other way is I can directly go to the test explorer and go to the keywords folder, do a right click and say new keyword. So here in the test explorer, we have got a keywords folder. I will go here and I can do a right click and I can say new keyword. And here there is a package name. If you want to store this under a package, you can consider package as a folder. So just in case you want to, categorize your keywords into different folders or packages, you can give a name here. Otherwise, if you leave it blank, it will go in the default package. Then you have to give the class name. So we are actually creating a class, and in that class, we will be creating the keyword functions. So I will call this as my keywords, and we have option to generate some sample keywords. Just in case you want to look at some sample keywords, you can check these. There are sample keywords for web, mobile, and API. You can check and look at these sample keywords. For now, I will leave it as it is and say okay. And you will see under the default package, this my keywords class is created. This is a Groovy class. Groovy is the language we use for coding in Katalon Studio. And you can see some import statements are already added. You can collapse these import statements. So I'll just collapse these, and you can see the class by the name my keywords is created here. So this is the start of the class. This is the end of the class. Okay. So we have done step number 1, step number 2, and now in the class, inside the class, we can create our functions. So here, let us say, I will create a very simple function in Groovy. To create a function, we say def, which is a keyword, which is an inbuilt keyword in Groovy. And I'll just give the function name, let's say hello. You can press Ctrl+ to increase the font. So this is going to be the name of the function. And then I give a bracket start and close, and then a curly bracket start and a curly bracket close. So this is how we define a function. And within these curly brackets, start and close, we can give the body of the function. So let's say inside the function, I will say println. This is to print on the console. And I can just say, I'll say something like hello world. So this is a function which will print hello world on the console. Okay. Now, until now, this is a simple function. It is not yet a keyword. If I save my project and I go to the keywords browser and I go to custom keywords and expand this, you can see nowhere I can see my keyword or my function that I have created. So as of now, this is just a simple function, but to expose it as a keyword, you have to add an annotation at keyword at the top of this function. So I will say at, and I will start typing key. If you want, you can also press control space bar, control space on your keyboard to get this auto suggestion. And this is the option we need. At keyword coming from com.kms.katalon.code.annotation. So select this and make sure that this is what we have here and save your project. And now this function will be exposed as a custom keyword. So this is what we need. We have provided the annotation at keyword, and this is how it looks like now. So now we have saved the project. And now if you go to the keywords browser and go to custom keywords general, you can see the keyword has come here. So this is the class name dot the function name. And I can now use this in my test cases. So let's say I create a test case called keywords demo, or I should call it custom keywords demo. And if I use this keyword, I can drag and drop like this, or I can go to this add drop down and say custom keyword, and all the custom keywords will be there in the drop down. I can select my custom keyword, or if I want, I can also just start typing hello. You can see I am getting this. So these are the two ways you can add it. As of now, I'll just add it once, and I will save and I will run, and let us see the console. So I will go to the console and double click. So this is my console, and here it is printing hello world. So this is working. So this is how we can create a custom keyword. Now here, as I was explaining, that if you want, you can also create a keyword. Let us say I create a keyword called login, or I create a function called login. And inside this function, I can club multiple actions or multiple keyword statements. Let's say I go to my test case script mode or manual mode and go to the script tab. And here, let us say these are the steps to login. I can copy these steps and put all of these under this keyword. Okay. And of course, I will have to use the annotation at keyword to expose this as a keyword. So now, whenever I call the login keyword in any of my test cases, all these three actions will take place, or it will add this username, this password, and click on the login button. So you can club multiple keywords or actions and create a custom keyword. And in case you want to take an input from the user, let us say I create another function. I call this as hello user. And here, to take an argument or to take a parameter inside this function, I will go to this bracket of the function, and I will say I want to get a parameter of type string, and I'm just calling it by this variable user. And inside the function, I'm saying println, and I say hello, and I will concatenate whatever is the value coming in user. I'm going to concatenate it or add it along with hello. So now, whenever whatever value it gets, it will get printed here. So it will say hello, and whatever value it gets as a input to the function, I will expose it as a keyword by using the annotation at keyword. And now, if I go back to my test case and go to my keywords browser, and we have got this hello user here, I'll just add it here. And you can now see it is asking for an input value. So I go to the input, double click, and here I just add my name So I say Raghav and I say okay and save, and I will run. And now if I check the console, I'll double click to expand it. You can see it is printing hello Raghav. So you can also take input from the user, and we have done all this. To add the keyword, we can do drag and drop, or we can just add the custom keyword from the add drop down. And this is the example to take a input from the user. Now you can also declare the category of the keyword. So if you see here, when you go to the keywords browser here, you can see all these keywords are under a general category or a general folder. If you want to put all your keywords in some specific folder or category, you can do that as well by adding this keyword object in the along with the annotation. You can do that. So let's say I will say here, along with the annotation in a bracket, I will say keyword object. I can press Control spacebar to autocomplete, and then you can just say it is equals to, and let's say I just give it a name called hello, just for fun here. I'm just adding this, and I'm doing this for all the keywords I have added, and I will save. And now if I go to keywords browser, you can see we have got this folder hello, and all our keywords are now inside this folder. So this is how you can categorize your keywords. Okay. So this is how we can create and use custom keywords. Okay, so you can also try creating some more custom keywords, try to create and run them and see how they run, and you will have a good knowledge on how to create custom keywords. Now, going forward, there is a quiz that you can take now. So I have created some different quizzes on Katalon Studio, and I will give all these links in the description of this video. So you can take this quiz. It will take you to this Katalon quiz 1, and you can just give your name if you want to, and then do the quiz. And at the end, you will see the score. Each question carry 1 mark, and you can then, if you want, you can let me know your score in the comment section. And now, I will stop this particular session here, and then I will create part 2 of this masterclass, and we'll cover the rest of the topics. I hope this was very useful for you and you enjoyed learning and working with Katalon Studio. If you have any questions, you can let me know in the comment section, and I will try to answer you as soon as I can. I will see you in the next part. Thank you for watching, and never stop learning.